Here are my opinions on Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy Season 2. There is a vast ocean of overpowered isekai protagonists who make harems, and while Tsukimichi isn't the best of these types of stories, it certainly manages to do the conventions well enough that I'm not overly complaining. Makoto thankfully doesn't need to be an uber edgelord and instead is just a guy, which makes him a little bit more believable as a character, with most of his overpowered abilities coming from experimentation, such as Mana Aura. He's also a reasonable person who gets irritated at extortion, thanks his top followers, and makes business-savvy decisions that don't seem overtly morally irreprehensible. This season, however, is about laying the seeds of the plot's major conflict, where Season 1 was mostly Makoto acquiring new powers, as we're introduced to two other isekai heroes and the threat of the Demon Army, two members of which were introduced at the end of the previous season. The other two heroes are interesting foils to Makoto, as Hibiki cares deeply about the people around her and thinks that will be enough to defeat the demons, but as we see her fight against Io, the power of friendship falls short. Alternatively, Tomoki is more focused on the status of being a hero, and when that mythos is shattered when fighting the demons and Sophia the Dragon Slayer, he's essentially broken. Makoto, however, has had to be cunning. With humans being distrusting of him, he's learned to handle any problem that comes his way, with the ability to delegate those tasks to others he's learned to trust. It's ultimately why he's able to beat Io and Sophia, who mop the floor with the other two heroes. Makoto is just built different. The season really has three major storylines, the first being the introduction to the new heroes, the second being Makoto teaching in the Academy Town, and finally the war against the demons. Thankfully, all these events blend together with some smaller plot points in the background complementing them, like Mio learning to cook from the hero Hibiki, Abelia having a crush on Shiki, and the new residents moving into the demiplane. With so much going on, the show also sets up some things for the future seasons, like dragon eggs being created after Sophia's death, the demon leadership reporting to the king, and the continued actions of the other two heroes. Overall, the second season of Tsukimichi does a great job of expanding its world in the 25-episode run, while keeping a similar tone to the first season. And while it isn't blowing me out of the water when stacked up against other isekai titles, it is certainly an enjoyable watch, with the third season already being greenlit. But as always, that's just my opinion. What did you think of Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy Season 2?